1 year redundant is when people stop pretending you're on a break, start quietly wondering what went wrong. It's also when most people panic. But after 12 months out of the system, I've realised something uncomfortable. Redundancy in midlife isn't a failure, it's a stress test, and most careers don't pass it. So here we are. When this video goes out, I'll have reached a milestone that, to be honest, is a bit of a strange one. It's been exactly 1 year since I last swiped a security badge, sat through a stand up meeting, or worried about a corporate KPI. 365 days. In the UK, we're very polite about this sort of thing, aren't we? Friends don't ask if you've found anything anymore. They ask, how's the, you know, time off going? There's that slight tilt of the head, the quiet pause that follows, like a brief silence in the pub or mid conversation at the dinner table where no one quite knows what to say next, like you're recovering from a long illness. And in a way, I suppose I am. If you're approaching your own marker, 6 months, 9 months, full year, and the world keeps nudging you towards just take anything, you'll know how this feels. And this is for you, because after a year, I've realised something important. This wasn't a gap, it was a tear down. I spent a lot of time thinking about why this feels so heavy, why this stage of life carries so much pressure. One report I read called it the pressure cooker. Kids who still need you and their university fees, parents who need more and more of your time, and you, stuck in the middle, trying to keep the lights on while the world expects you to just keep calm and carry on. For over 15 years, I'd been the reliable one. You know the role, the person who keeps things running. I'd built loads of automated Monday reports, proper bits of kit, saved the business thousands in manual faff. And yet every Monday at 8 o'clock, there I was, still pressing the buttons. Why? Because I was a safe pair of hands, a high value asset being used like a glorified macro. And that's the danger. Competence without leverage eventually becomes a liability. I built my own cage out of my own usefulness. One morning it hit me. I was spending more time inside a pivot table than paying attention to my own health. That's not a career. That's a slow motion collision. And here's the maddening part. The system was perfectly happy to let it continue. It didn't care about my growth. It didn't care about sustainability. It just wanted the PDF on time. You realise sitting there with your tea going cold that no one notices when you break till the document's late. There's a stereotype, isn't there, that after 50 you're basically legacy software, still running, barely, just waiting to be decommissioned. It's a convenient story. If you believe you're declining, you'll accept less. Less pay, less autonomy, less say. But that story isn't biological, it's economic. Neuroplasticity doesn't switch off at 50. What switches off is repetition. When you stop running the same week over and over, the brain wakes up. What feels like being past it is often just stiffness, a system that hasn't stretched in years. I'm learning some new things now: model making, video editing, even dusting off the guitar again. Not to reinvent myself, just to see what still moves. Some days it's awkward. That old voice says, you're slower than you were. Well, maybe. But slower isn't obsolete, it's deliberate. We're not rotting on the shelf, we're recalibrating. Same body, different drivetrain. At the 1 year mark, something has to change. If you spend 40 hours a week on LinkedIn, you'll lose your mind. It's a toxic soup of hustle culture and 20 somethings explaining productivity like they invented it. My recovery had to become surgical, but in a very British way. Quiet, almost boring. I stopped the frantic job hunting because, quite frankly, most of it is a bit of a waste of time. It's reactive. Instead, I run a simple audit on myself now, on health, finances, direction. I score them from 1 to 10, then I work the gap. At first, it feels slightly uncomfortable. You feel guilty. People see you at home and assume you're coasting. That old good soldier voice starts shouting that you should be back at work. But here's the truth: if I don't defend my time now, I risk becoming convenient again. Taking a step back trades short term status for clearer thinking and less stress. That's the real trade off. We've all seen the alternative: the guy who panics at month 7, takes the safe role at a firm they don't even like just to fill the gap. By month 12, they look absolutely knackered. The relief of the salary's gone, replaced by the realisation that they've signed up for another 5 years of the same theatre. We're taught to grin and bear it, but at this age, time is the only currency that matters. It's possible to sit with the anxiety of the unknown rather than settling into another cycle of misery. And over time, the unknown begins to feel a bit more promising. You notice it in small wins: a Monday without dread, a walk without glancing at your emails, a proper night's sleep. This is the hardest part to explain. We're not looking for a career path. We've been there, seen the film, got the t-shirt. We're looking for motion. This year marked the death of my good soldier identity. I had to kill the part of me that needed to be helpful at my own expense, because my value was never in availability. It was never in hours. It's in judgment. At this stage of life, I could usually look at a situation and see the fix in 10 minutes, because I've spent 30 years watching things break. I didn't want a role that needs my hands. I want one that wants my eyes. I'm living by my own screenplay now, not one written by old bosses or inherited expectations. And yes, it's uncomfortable. Some mornings I wake up and wonder if I've gone slightly mad. Then I remember the Sunday night knot in my stomach from 2 years ago, and I know I'm on the right track. Relief at the 1 year mark isn't a new contract. It's the day you stop apologising for being exactly where you are. It's waking up and realising you aren't in between anything. You're in motion. The background grumpiness fades. Conversations with family stop drifting towards restructures and contingency plans. You recognise a version of yourself you haven't seen since the 90s, only now with far better components under the hood. They say to always put your own oxygen mask on first. Turns out when you can breathe, you can finally see the opportunities that were invisible when you were suffocating in that cubicle. If you're approaching your own anniversary, stop calling it a failure. Stop treating it like a rebuild. Look at your CV and find the one role you're keeping there. Not because you want to repeat it, but because you think it makes you look safe. Don't delete it, but just stop letting it define the story. You're not an old dog. You're someone with 3 decades of leverage deciding how it's used. I'll see you next time.